Greg, good to have you on the program. This is a most read story on the Bloomberg terminal, and for very good reason. It's not just the headline that is amazing. The entire story is amazing. Taylor Swift tax stirs bad blood with Rhode Island homeowners. What is the so-called Taylor Swift tax?
So the tax is a annual property tax on second homes in Rhode Island that are valued over $1 million. It's half a percentage point, and it was passed last year as part of the state budget. The purpose is to raise money to build more affordable housing in Rhode Island.
It seems like a relatively small amount. And the reason I bring that up is that just for the Taylor Swift example, okay? She has a 12,700 square foot mansion. It's assessed at $28 million. So that means an extra tax bill of about $136,000. That's not that much for her, given the value of the home. How is it affecting, though, people at the lower end of the income and fame spectrum?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the loudest protests here are not coming from those who own mega mansions next to Taylor's in Watch Hill. It's really coming from these homeowners who have had modest properties, modest vacation homes in their family for generations, often, 3 or 4 generations, who are going to be seeing their tax bills going up by 50% or more with this Taylor Swift tax. A lot of these homes you can't stay in them or you can't rent them out during the winter and parts of the spring or the fall because they're not insulated or they don't have heating. So considering, how if people wanted to rent them out to try to make some money to make up for this tax, they really have a small window to do so in the summer.
I mean, I just find it being interesting that the loudest protests aren't necessarily coming from the billionaires like Taylor Swift, but those who have those vacation homes there. How long has this really been a contentious issue in the area, or have we really been seeing this more highlighted as of late?
Yeah, it's interesting. So the tax was enacted, as I said, as part of the state budget about a year ago, but it's really only gotten on people's radars in the past few weeks. The state sent out notices to those who may be subject to the tax in May. They sent about 8,000 notices. And as people have arrived to their summer homes on the coast, conversations have started. It's really only been in the past few weeks that there's been an uproar about this. And actually now there's a law firm in Providence is organizing a lawsuit they're hearing from these unhappy homeowners who want to challenge this tax in court, saying it's unconstitutional. So there may be legal action coming in the next few weeks.
Greg, you make the point in your piece, and it's a really important one, that this is not occurring in a vacuum. The challenges that it's trying to address have to do with affordable housing. That's affecting pretty much every state in the country right now. But it's also part of a pattern of leaders in Democratic states of introducing taxes to try to supplement affordable housing or try to tax those at the most upper ends of the income spectrum. So it makes me think of what's happening here in New York with Zohran Mamdani pushing through his second home tax. We just spoke about Ken Griffin and what he's doing in Miami right now, and the buying of basically that entire building. We just spoke about that a few minutes ago. What does this signify to you at this moment of time?
There's a lot of voter anger around wealth inequality, around affordability. That's maybe the big buzzword this midterm season is affordability. So yes, you did see that second home tax also taking effect this week in New York. You're seeing more and more states looking at millionaire taxes. Actually, Rhode Island just last month enacted its millionaires tax. Massachusetts, Maine, Washington State, they all have millionaire taxes. So Democrats, their Democratic leaders are saying, look, we're facing a budget crunch. They're blaming Trump and federal funding cuts in D.C., and they're looking toward the wealthy to make up some of that gap.
So in this particular instance, it's collecting $5 for every $1,000 that a vacation home's value is assessed over $1 million. Do you expect this model to potentially be used in other regions of the nation?
I think so. I do think this is a bellwether. That's how these taxes have worked. You saw Massachusetts pass the nation's first millionaire tax in 2022. More and more, so it's popping up in more and more states the past year or two. So, and there, think of places that are led by Democrats: California, Washington State, states up and down the East Coast that have lots of vacation homes that are vacation hotspots. So, I could certainly see this spreading to other states in the coming years.
You mentioned the potential legal challenge that this could face. You do note in your piece that the law firm Hinckley, Allen and Snyder expects to file a lawsuit on behalf of homeowners challenging this. What is their argument going to be?
Well, that's still under development, but they're arguing this tax violates the federal and state constitution. That they could claim that it's a non-constitutional taking. What I'm hearing from homeowners, and I'm not sure the extent to which this will make it into the legal filings, but again, this argument that it's not fair. We can't make up this money. Even if we rent out our homes, we can only rent out our homes for a handful of months a year. It's just not fair that we're expected to pay, in some cases, upwards of $10,000 or more in new taxes under this measure.
So do you expect any sort of exodus? I mean, I'm also looking at the story about the Providence area. The luxury home sale prices in the area have increased about 6.3% year over year. Of course, we know this kind of is due to tight supply and prices going up. But do you expect some of those deep-pocketed buyers to start looking elsewhere? Or are we getting to the point where it's like, where else can we go? Because everyone's pushing them out from certain regions.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I talked to a lot of real estate agents for this story, and you're not really seeing any sort of effect yet, and they don't expect that you will for at least the near term. I spoke to one agent who pointed to a Texas resident who sails off the Newport coast and was in the market for a house, in the $10 million to $20 million range, and then once this tax passed, decided, forget about it, I'll look elsewhere. But that's really been the exception. People are really attached to these homes, especially these homeowners whose properties have been in their family for generations. So, the tax just went into effect. They're not feeling the financial pain yet. I suspect people will be filing for exemptions and maybe seeing how this lawsuit plays out. So I think we're a bit away before you see anything resembling a meaningful exodus.
It's called the, quote, Taylor Swift tax. Has Taylor Swift said anything about this?
She has not. Yes, unlike Ken Griffin, who has had that very public feud with Mamdani over New York's second home tax. Taylor has not commented on it. I reached out to her publicist and did not hear back. So she's focused on the wedding, but she's staying quiet.